Hey, what's up everybody? Jake here and welcome to the hobby. It looks like all of the big cards inside of Abyss Eye, which is our upcoming Pitch Black English set, has been revealed. So we get to see all of the illustration rares a little bit in advance. Thanks to the guys over at PokeBeach for putting this together so that we can see the whole entire illustration rare list. And it looks like there are going to be 12 illustration rares inside of Abyss Eye. This seems to be the number that the Pokemon Company has landed on for all of the continuing sets. Older sets, some of the older ones like Paldea Evolved, had up to 36 illustration rares. 12 seems to be a very strong moderate number. For the English set, we are only going to get 11 illustration rare because Zarude is going to be our ETB promo card. So we end up getting one less illustration rare that you can potentially pull inside of Pitch Black. There's some really strong SIRs and full art trainer cards inside of Abyss Eye as well. And obviously this is going to be our last main set before we get to the 30th anniversary, which is going to be really exciting. Before we jump into looking at all of these cards, I'd like to thank Buyee for sponsoring today's video. If you guys haven't checked out Buyee today, I highly recommend you guys check them out. They have the best deals on all of the latest Japanese Pokemon card sets, and I highly recommend you guys try purchasing some Japanese sets if you are currently struggling to find English sets, especially because I think Japanese arts have much better special illustration rare quality, and they have some of the best prices compared to English sets. You can get yourself a Japanese 151 booster box for roughly the same price as a Mega Evolution booster box right now. I think Japanese 151 booster boxes are currently going for roughly $300 to $350, and this is a really awesome set. You get a guaranteed Master Ball inside of every single booster box. If you've never ripped open Japanese 151 before, it's well worth it. Upcoming sets such as Ninja Spinner and Abyss Eye, which is the set that we are going to be talking about in today's video, their booster boxes are going for sub $100, and that's a fantastic deal, which when compared to English booster boxes are going for upwards of $200 to $300 a booster box. It's astronomical. So definitely check out Buyee today if you want to pick up any cool Pokemon card products directly from Japan. I use Buyee all the time to pick up stuff from the Pokemon Center Japan, such as this super cool Quagsire Bowl. Do you guys see this? These are the kind of like must-have items that are just kind of neat to have around the house, and the prices on these are actually incredibly affordable if you can purchase them directly from Japan. So I use Buyee all the time, probably like once a week whenever I'm purchasing any of the newest sleeves or any of the cool Pokemon card products that are just not available over here in English. Check them out today, click the link down in the description and get yourself 10% off your very first purchase directly from Buyee. Going back to the list of cards inside of Pitch Black or Abyss Eye, the Japanese sets, I honestly think they just need to have the exact same name. I don't understand why we need to have different names for these sets between English and Japan. It makes it really confusing and convoluted for no reason. There doesn't appear to be a strong reason why it's called Ninja Spinner in Japan and Chaos Rising in English. It just adds to the confusion, and honestly, Ninja Spinner would have been a fantastic set name for Chaos Rising. Pitch Black and Abyss Eye could have both been called the exact same set. No reason to switch it up. I don't know. It's keeping some person in the Pokemon Company who has a marketing degree a paycheck, I guess, when they're not really doing anything. It was fine to be called either name. In terms of the illustration rares, please note that there are only 11 that we are going to be able to be getting inside of Pitch Black, and that does matter. What that basically means is that if you rip open a booster box case of Pitch Black, you end up getting yourself 2 Armarouge, you end up getting yourself 2 Goldeen, you end up getting 2 Primarina, 2 Magnetric. All of these cards have a roughly 1 in 12 booster packs of being pulled. And if you do the math, if you open up a whole entire booster box case, you're going to get yourself around 2 copies of every one of these illustration rares, which means in English, a lot of these illustration rares are going to be pretty cheap. English illustration rares are going to be quite cheap. It's kind of almost similar to the Japanese prices, actually. Japanese illustration rares are actually some of the most affordable ones. They are basically $1 to $2 in most cases for most Japanese illustration rares, unless you're talking about a super cool illustration rare. Some of the more desirable ones can go up to like $4 or $5. The English ones, I think a lot of people are tying their prices to the booster boxes, because a booster box of Pitch Black is probably going to be $300. A booster box of Mega Evolution is $300, and that pushes some of the prices on the illustration rares up. but these cards are simply not that rare. If you open up a pitch black booster box, you're going to roughly see 3 illustration rares, and there's only 11, so do the math. If you do the math, you basically end up seeing a Goldeen or an Armarouge or a Fomantis more often than not. There aren't that many that you can potentially pull. And that's the exact same case with the full arts and SIR. I will say I like the full art cards a lot more than some people. I like this kind of full art style. I love that for something like the Whale Lord, they did put some thought into it, you know, like the texturing on the full art card is actually done like waves. This is one of the reasons why the Japanese SIRs, I think, are a lot more cool than the full art ones in English, where they just don't do the same kind of quality as the Japanese version. Once you get into the full art trainers and SIR, I was really hoping for a Misty SIR. That would have been fantastic. It would have probably made Pitch Black a much stronger set than Ninja Spinner. Right now, I would actually say it's actually weaker than Ninja Spinner and Chaos Rising, because I think this would have been a super cool SIR to have. This is the same design as I think they had inside of Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu, which is the new redesign of Misty, which I think they did a fantastic job to give her like a more sporty look. The other full art trainers are extremely meh. They're very meh. They're very, very meh. I don't think people are going to care too much about the full art trainer SIRs. They're of Gladion and Gwin, which are very, very, I wouldn't say like unpopular. I would say low popular trainers. Misty SIR would have been gone insane. The Japanese market would have gone wild for that, but we didn't get it. In terms of the special illustration rare Pokemon, there's only 4 that you can really get. We got ourselves the Mega Zoroark EX, which looks cool. Black and gold is always a cool design. We got ourselves the Mega Chandelure, which is very basic. This is such a basic SIR. I think the Japanese version does it a lot of justice again, and that's mainly because the Japanese version has such cool texturing. The Mega Darkrai is by far going to be the big chase card, drawn by Akira Ogawa, which is a legendary artist in the Pokemon Company. This is a super cool art piece. Very similar to the Giratina V inside of Lost Origin. Again, obviously Abyss Eye. Very similar design to Lost Origin in both name and style in terms of their chase card. It is a really cool art card. I think people are going to want this chase card. But again, it's one note in that obviously some dudes out there are going to love this card. The girlies are going to hate this card. I don't think any girl out there is going to love to have this card, unless you're a goth. Maybe if you're a goth, you love it. But you see my point is that there's not enough here in this one set that I think is super desirable to everyone, and that's probably a good thing. I think people are overinflating the prices on Pitch Black right now, because I don't think Pitch Black deserves to be a $300 booster box right out of the gate. Realistically, it's one step above Perfect Order. It's not a bad set. It's very solid, but it's not $300 a booster box kind of set. I don't want to be ripping open this set at $300. I just don't see that value here. It just seems like a losing proposition. Again, the SIRs are okay. The Gwyn SIR is so basic. Most people are going to look at this trainer and going to say, who is this? I believe they're the trainer. I mean, their ace Pokemon's clearly Mega Chandelure, so it makes sense. But compared their full art trainer version to the SIR version, they're so similar. You could almost flip the two, and you wouldn't know which one is which. They're that close. There's the Gladion SIR, and there's the Gwyn SIR. Again, extremely, extremely meh. The only other big one that I think that you really have to think about is going to be the Mega Darkrai EX, Mega Ultra Rare. And again, that's 2 chase cards inside of this set, which is the Mega Darkrai EX, Mega Ultra Rare, as well as the SIR version. These are the only 2 cards that you really care about pulling inside of the whole entire set. If you rip open a booster box, you're probably going to get yourself roughly 3 illustration rares on average. The Zarude is guaranteed inside of the ETB. And looking at these illustration rares, there's not a lot here. The Silvally is probably one of the better ones. Toucannon, Bastiodon, Demise, like these are not S tier Pokemon it's cool that they're getting illustration rares and they're very strong side attractions, but there isn't anything in here that I think most people are going to be chasing in the illustration rare slot. There's nothing super crazy here. There's no Charmander, there's no Bulbasaur, which should make this set a little bit on the easier to pick up side for the sealed product. So if I'm realistically looking at this set right now, and my honest reaction to Pitch Black is, it's okay. It's very solid, middle of the road, and there's nothing here to ride home about. I think people are going to be shooting themselves in the foot if they're picking up this set for $250 plus a booster box. It's not there. There's 1 to 2 chase cards, and that's going to be the Mega Darkrai. And if this card isn't your flavor, which for a solid portion of the population, it might not be their flavor. If this is your chase card, cool, like so be it, go for it, But if it's not your flavor, if this is not a card that fits inside of your collection, and even if it is a card that fits inside of your collection, you might just want to pick it up as a single, rather than ripping open multiple booster boxes at $250 plus a booster box to pick up. Because if you rip open 2 booster boxes, it probably is going to cost you about the same amount sealed as picking up this card as a single. This card raw on the secondary market after release is probably going to be maybe like a $500 card. So realistically, you might probably just want to pick this up single rather than spending $600 ripping open 2 booster boxes trying to find this card and end up getting yourself, Gwin, and getting yourself a Brave Bengal. And those would be like the cards that you got from your 2 booster boxes, right? So the math doesn't math for me here. It doesn't make reasonable sense to be ripping open any Pitch Black right now. I will probably rip open a Pitch Black booster box, and I will probably rip open 1 ETB to get a good review of the set. But I think for some people, this set might be a straight pass. Their wallets are hurting. I think some people are going to say skip on Pitch Black and then move straight into 30th anniversary. So yeah, interesting that these sets are basically 1-to-1 with the Japanese sets. And they're very solid, but for the hype that is going on to the Pokemon card market, you would assume that these would all be S-tier sets, and they're really not. And hopefully that cools down the market a little bit. So this has been my first impression of Abyss Eye. Let me know what your thoughts are. And yeah, let me know if you're excited to see Pitch Black in English or not. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.